Hi, and welcome back to Unlabelled and Limitless. Today's episode starts with something small but surprisingly revealing: eating with your hands. From there, Kay and I unpack sensory deal breakers, hygiene, culture, and the invisible boundaries people carry through the world. This is a light conversation with deeper layers about comfort, dignity, and why sometimes minding your business is the most respectful thing you can do.
Gone. Okay.
All right. Okay. So I was saying that here in the Philippines, we have this culture called kamayan. It's pretty much like budol fight, you eat with your hands. It's a method of eating.
Yeah.
Practically,
And you were saying that you don't like getting your hands dirty and eating in there.
yes.
And I know
Some
my niece Erin is the same way. She doesn't like washing dishes because she doesn't like to get her hands wet or touch slimy plates and things. Wear rubber gloves.
I would help my grandmother with her plants and pots. I would actually bare hand pick up after my dogs. But for some reason, I will not touch food that I will have to eat with my hands. I'm not sure why. I have no explanation for it.
I have questions. Um,
Okay.
Is it to do with you or is it to do with because are these shared pots or is it that you have your own pot of food and you eat your own food with it? Because for me, anything that I see other people put their hands on, I don't want to eat automatically.
So it's just you have your own plate of food and it's on your plate. It's from a pot. You just have to really eat it with your bare hands. And I can't.
Your hands?
I've,
A sandwich?
yes, but I try to avoid eating a burger or something because I feel like it's very low dignity. Like when you eat a burger, the juices come right down on your elbows, and
Oh my goodness,
I
what are
get
you
well.
eating? Juices
So
are flowing your elbows, Kate. I would say there's something wrong with those burgers if you're getting that messy eating them, girl. I just find it weird, but there are certain things that I will eat with my hands, right? I'm going to eat chips with my hands and fries.
Mhm.
I will eat a burger or something like that with my hands, right? So there's some foods for me that, like, hey, it belongs in my hands and my hands are how I should eat it. I get really annoyed when people eat burgers with a knife and fork and stuff. It's just bizarre, right? Because it's meant to be held and
Yeah,
you
I get
like
that.
you have a wrapper around it to hold it with
Yeah,
but it's like it's just it's built that way. A hot dog is built to eat it just blah, 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 blah. It's ergonomic. Everything about it is like to be held in your hands and eaten. But to me, rice isn't a food that is made to be held in your hands and eaten.
exactly.
Understand in cultures where maybe there aren't the same utensils, right? I can use chopsticks and eat rice. I'm perfectly capable of using a pair of chopsticks and eating food with chopsticks, right? So I can eat rice, I can eat noodles and different things with chopsticks. I get that there's different implements and things like that to eat things right. And I've learned how to maneuver some of those things. And I get that there are places in the world that just do not have cutlery as we know it, right? So, yes, they'll scoop up, maybe they'll have a leaf or something and use it that way, right? So, no judgment. But to me, because I live in a world with utensils, rice isn't something that's made to be eaten
Yes.
with my hands. Like when we order from the sushi place, I don't eat sushi, but I order like the vegetarian, like either an avocado roll or a
Oh, yes.
calif like a cucumber roll or something like that. And I don't pick them up with my fingers and eat them with my fingers. I eat them with a set of chopsticks. Brian, can you check what she's chewing on right now? And I was like, chopstick. Yeah, I'd had them at my desk because I'd been eating and working. And yeah, she helped herself to one of the chopsticks. So it's so bizarre. She just likes to take things that I've touched and eat them. But while
I
we're out, doesn't pretend. She does it right in front of our faces. so we don't notice. So the food with your hands, is it a texture thing?
Yes. I severely dislike hand foods. So I typically avoid ordering them at restaurants unless I need to mentally prepare for it. Like when a friend would ask me, "Oh, we're going out for chicken wings, and you will have to eat with your bare hands. Otherwise, you don't get your money's worth," right? So I try to mentally prepare and then also try to ask for extra napkins. I remember watching Wicked 2 weeks ago, and my friend Edge loves taters, and he has this specific concoction with extra butter, cheddar cheese, white cheddar, and sour cream, and it's very messy to eat. Like all the things goes into your hands. So I would still enjoy eating food. So I think it's the texture thing to answer your question.
People be offended if you went somewhere like that and turned up with your own spork, the spoon and fork in one, right? Because that
Yes.
solves all problems. If you need to spoon something, you can spoon it. If you need to fork it, you can fork it. But would people treat you like you were a weirdo or something if you went to one of these restaurants or you went to the theater and instead of putting on a glove, to me, it's not necessarily the fingers in the food per se. I don't mind getting my hands messy. Like, I love shoving my hands in soil and being out in the garden and things like that. So that isn't my problem. But for me, I also wash my hands a lot. Every time I go outside and come back in with the dog, I wash my hands. She hasn't pooped and stuff because she's running around. I'm throwing toys for her. We're touching things. I might, right? And it's just like I'm touching door handles. I'm doing whatever. So for me, I don't want to share unless I am like, would I do it with my best friend or Brian? Yes. Might I do it with my mum? Maybe, depends on the thing, right? Like for my mum, if she had to eat something with her hands, I wouldn't be worried that like she hadn't washed her hands and stuff. But for me, I used to work in healthcare and
Yeah.
I know what people do with their hands. And
Hands.
and I know that unless somebody washes their hands enough, they're essentially like a walking ball of germs.
Yep.
And I don't
That's
care
true.
who it is. If I like one of my big things, and even if somebody does wash their hand in this situation, is people that have those big fake nails. Because
Oh, yeah.
again, I worked in healthcare and we were handling body fluids. We were helping people with personal hygiene. We were delivering medications to very personal, private areas of their bodies.
Yeah.
And we were interacting on a daily basis with 11 people, 11 individuals that lived in these houses and 5 staff members at least on shift, right? That's a lot of germs and a lot of hands. Plus, all of our clients are going to day programs and sitting on buses for hours and whatever, right? So it's insanely germy. So for 11 years of my life, I was taught OSHA precautions. That was part of my job as an assistant supervisor, was to make sure all staff were following OSHA all the time, which is like our office for workplace safety, sanitation and things. We have sharps bins. We are dealing with body fluids and things. So you've got to have very
Yes.
strict protocols and very consistent protocols to make sure. And we had a staff person at the time that like we called her the princess. Essentially, like all the staff working there essentially would refer to her as the princess.
The princess.
You had to use bleach all day long, every day, because that's what killed the germs on the surfaces, and very strong bleach, right? So anytime we did something, you would have to bleach the surface before you did it. If you're showering somebody, you have to bleach the entire shower area, clean, put that person in, take them out, clean it. But the reason you do it twice is because even though the person before you should do it and probably did do it, you should never assume that it is autumn, right? So these showers were getting cleaned sometimes 6, 7 times a day, 8 times a day, whatever,
Oh,
right? Our job was to make sure that we kept the germs in that house and communicable diseases and things like that to a minimum. So the princess she used to come to work in beautiful designer clothing like Gucci, and she'd have like Versace
oh,
on and stuff like that. And
fancy.
yeah, she'd have like really nice shoes on with like platform heels and things. Her hair would be done, her nails, her makeup, and everything. And the rest of us essentially just look like we've rolled out of bed, have grabbed like the most comfortable clothing that works and had just rolled up to it. Nobody looked like that they hadn't made an effort, but I would go dressed to work literally how I'm dressed now, right? I'd wear a t-shirt, a pair of sweatpants, but nice sweatpants. Because we had really strict protocols and that, right, you had to be comfortable because we also had a lot of high-level behaviors which were quite extreme. So we needed to be ready at any moment to be able to intervene and help somebody that's in the middle of a crisis that's turned violent. We couldn't wear open-toed shoes. Somebody where I worked had a foot fetish, and that foot fetish would trigger some quite intense behaviors, and he would attack females. So yeah, so we had to wear socks and running shoes at work, like socks and sneakers. You couldn't wear something that you couldn't run in if you heard somebody shout that they needed assistance. Because if somebody's on the second floor and one of our clients is feeling out of control and then attacks somebody, we can't be toddling upstairs in a pair of flip-flops, right? We need to be able to hear that wherever we are and run and help that person instantly, right?
That's true.
We had to be relaxed for work, and this one person would turn up with platform heels, really tight fitted jeans. Like, she always looked very nice, very well put together and stuff,
That-
nails and things like that. And we would all wonder how she was doing her job and not getting bleach on her clothing and not getting we didn't wear false nails. We would wear trim nails because if somebody's having an outburst and you have to intervene physically, right? You don't want to harm them with your nails because it gets really dicey in there. It's really easy to scratch somebody or be scratched, right? So again, having shorter nails you can work with, nails that you can scrub under before you start giving people medications and things.
Oh, okay.
When she started picking up different shifts and things and working with different people, that she wasn't actually doing the OSHA part of the job. She'd essentially sit and shuffle papers or pretend to be busy and things, and other people would be doing the showering and things like that. So she was on my shift one day, and I don't know if it's like she couldn't leave because somebody called out sick or something. We're essential staff. If somebody doesn't turn up, somebody from the previous shift has to stay because you have this minimum coverage and there always has to be X amount of people on shift.
Yes.
So she's on our shift and we're putting her down to do these showers. And she starts really getting anxious and trying to talk her way out of, I can do. And it's like, no, like, we need you on shift because this is how this runs and that person has to go do this. And why can't I go do that? Because we need this person to, right? And it was just this big thing. And then she's trying to get the bathroom ready for showering and hasn't got a clue what to do. And I'm handing her the bleach and she's, yeah, but this might ruin my clothing. And it's, well, get with the program, sister. Do you not see us right now? Every single one of us is wearing clothes that have got like bleach stains on them. Like, some of my favorite clothes that I brought from the UK were just ruined with these like little splashes of bleach that you get on you because that's how you got to keep. And then it's, oh no, I can't wear gloves because it does this to my hands. And we're like, have you been wearing gloves? Don't fit your hands because of your nails. And it was just, such a mind-blowing moment where we were all like, yep, definitely a princess. To avoid any kind of like serious work while the rest of us have been like getting our clothes ruined, getting attacked in the bathrooms, having shit thrown at us and everything. She'd just always been shuffling papers somewhere or volunteering to do the jobs that would take her away from needing to do anything physical or whatever. But yeah, and I used to see tons of people, and there's a lot of people here that do their nails, and I don't ever see them with a scrubbing brush, like cleaning in there. And so for me, when I see people touching food, if I haven't seen them clean their hands, if I haven't seen them like scrubbing behind their fingernails and stuff like that, if I see people cleaning fingernails and stuff and then see them touching food, I'm like, absolutely not. I can't touch it. It doesn't matter who it is. It just makes me want to vomit. So I don't like eating anything that's like shared unless it is like with Brian or if it was like Becky or Lindsay or whatever, who've basically been like my sisters since I was like 8 or something. And then Mel, we go out somewhere to eat. Or we'll be out and about shopping and stuff and go, oh, should we just jump in here, get a glass of Prosecco and then maybe a little nibble on a bar or whatever. And as soon as you sit down, Mel has the hand sanitizer there for you to squeeze it so you can clean your hands before you touch that food that the both of you are going to eat. And Mel is also always getting sick. So maybe she cleans too many germs away and doesn't get herself enough germs to build up resistance. Shout out to you, Amel. She's supposed to meet us this weekend for something, and she's, oh, wouldn't you know, I'm sick again, and blah. And I was like, you are absolutely not bailing on us this time. This thing starts at this time. It'll be finished by then, and we'll put you in a taxi home. So no excuses. You don't have to drink. I'm not letting her bail on me because she's bailed on the last few things that we were going to do when she was ill.
Like, you only have a number of passes to bail out.
Although we are seeing her this weekend and then going to the Carnegie Hall, which is like Trevor Noah, John Roywood Jr. So it's like, really excited. Really excited. I don't know if it's the English comic relief and they're just doing something for it here, or if they're just calling it comic relief because we're living through dark times and we all need a bit of comic relief. So who knows? But Trevor Noah is super involved with the Trevor Society and different things, which is, So I would imagine whatever it is, and it's at the Carnegie Hall as well. The tickets were super affordable. Like, it wasn't, they were face value. It's not overpriced. So yeah, we're going to go do that on next week. And then my mum arrives.
I was wondering if she'll be with you this coming weekend, but I figured she'll arrive either by the end of this week or next week.
If she was here this weekend, who are we going to see? Oh my God. Chromeo. We're going to see a group called Chromeo this week, and they're like a Chromeo. They started in Brooklyn. They're from Canada. They started in Brooklyn because they lived in New York, where a lot of these kind of smaller bands, alternate bands do. And they built up quite a following. Their music is actually excellent, and it's very in the vein of Daft Punk. It isn't like Daft Punk, the very own vibe going on. It's that kind of show. So it's really good fun. We're going to be there with Neil and Erica. Unfortunately, our other friends, Doug and Hillary, can't join us this year. They were there last year, but Erica wasn't. And then Erica agreed to come this year, but Amel's coming to it with us as well. But if my mum was here, she would actually love that. It's New York, right? It doesn't matter how old you are here. When I was at Paul Van Dyke last weekend, I felt like I was standing amongst the Sopranos at one point. It was like these kind of older Italian Guido kind of definitely all look like they belong in one of the mafia families, and still they probably own a couple of pizza shops like down in Staten Island. I'm not trying to
Ooh.
stereotype here.
And then,
Older Italian guys that all look like the kind of dudes that like actually own these authentic Italian pizza places and still have like mob ties and shit. But yeah, that's totally normal in New York. There was also like a whole bunch of gay people in there. There's a whole bunch of really dressed up people in there that I was like, you all did not come to dance. You came here to take photos and be seen. And then
oh,
there's people that were clearly on vacation. And it's like anywhere you go in New York, you definitely have an array of people and an array of ages.
I forgot this comic. I really like her. She's Puerto Rican and she grew up in the Bronx.
I think I know the one.
And
Did she marry somebody from the Midwest or something?
yes,
Yeah.
like white, white, like Gina Brilon.
Yeah.
I really like what happens in New York never happened. Why you snitching?
Yeah.
This so that's funny because I think it's true for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked about that before, right? It's like, it's a paradox. Everything in New York is a paradox, right? Because we have,
Yeah.
if you see something, say something, but also mind your business. But New Yorkers know when to see something and say something versus when to mind their business as well, right? Pick up
Yes.
living here. So there's stuff that you walk past and you definitely see tourists. And the homeless people here, many of them definitely, as in a lot of places, but many of them have some very serious mental health issues. And we have a crack
Oh,
epidemic, and there are a
yeah.
lot of people that
Opioids.
yeah, and there's a lot of people that hallucinate things. Even Josh Johnson in that skit that I love when he's talking about the subway and how stoic the little kid was while the crazy man was like yelling about, he ate all of my sandwiches. And then the guy comes through the door sideways with his penis hanging out and his whatever. And the kid looks up and he'll sort itself out. Kind of hits it, right? So yesterday evening, and there was somebody coming towards us, and this person clearly was having a conversation, a very aggressive conversation with somebody that nobody else could see, right? And it was very animated. And you'll see this quite often in my neighborhood, right?
Like it looks like an argument.
No, yeah, they are literally like, they're seeing things that the rest of us are not, and they're standing there yelling or whatever, right? And maybe they're having a schizophrenic episode, maybe they're having a bipolar episode, maybe they're having an I'm high on drugs episode. But in that moment, their reality is not the reality of everybody around. But here's the thing, in my neighborhood, because this has been going on for years, because a lot of it's a Black community, right? And the Black community were very much forgotten about with a lot of the epidemics and the crack and different things, right? People in my neighborhood know when to mind their business. So you do see that and you pay attention, right? I don't walk around with earphones on. I don't walk around like, I'll look at my phone and stuff, but I'm paying attention to everything that's going on and I'm listening. Right. You can clearly hear this guy's walking up the road and is having a very animated conversation with somebody that doesn't exist and he's not on the phone. And as he was walking past this kind of family, and it was like two women and a few children, I don't know what happened or whether like they caught him or whether he caught a look or what it was, but something happened as he walked by. And then he walked by me and he walked like I moved this way and he moved that way. And he passes me. And then I hear him behind me invoking the Lord, saying, the Bible says, never look back. And look at you, you skanky whatever. You're looking back, right? And what had happened is this family in front of me had turned backwards to look at him. Maybe the person behind me had turned back to look at him too. I just kept walking with Saga and I did not look back because I knew that guy, something's going on here. And the last thing I need to do is make eye contact with that person because I've made eye contact with way too many people while they've been in the middle of a delusional episode.
Oh, no.
And thankfully, it's just turned into either an amusing story or something. But yeah, you definitely don't want to make eye contact, look at people, whatever. It's okay. That person's clearly got their thing going on. Let me just walk on
Yeah.
by. So that's what I usually do. And even if people get close to me or shout something at me or do whatever, right? I've worked in mental health. I recognize that person's either trying to get a reaction, which I'm not going to give, or they're just doing this thing because of whatever. But what happens in New York is a lot of tourists or people from out of town or people that are very new here engage in it, or they look at the person, or they're wondering like, what should I do right now? And I used to date a paramedic, and he was like, I wish well-meaning people would stop calling 911 for EDPs, and that's an emotionally disturbed person. Because he's
Oh,
like,
okay.
here's what happens. These freaking do-gooders see people walking down the street like that, and they either, or people who don't know what to expect because they're like, wow, this doesn't happen where I live. Like New Yorkers are like, yeah, that happens all the time, every day. Just keep on walking, don't make eye contact, and speed up a little bit, and you'll probably be okay. Don't engage. If somebody starts yelling at you, just put your head down, don't engage them. And I've got tons of stories of different situations I've been in with these things. But yeah, it's like they'll call us and then we'll have to turn up. And then these people don't want to come to hospital. They quite have, and even if we take them to hospital, there's not actually anything wrong with them. They've just been drinking or whatever. So they'll sober up and then they'll be back out tomorrow. And they don't want help. They don't want treatment. And it's like all these do-gooders basically call 911 all the time, thinking that they're going to help these people. And this isn't what's helping them. And then it aggravates them more. So there's more violent interactions with the emergency services and different things like that. But when I first moved to New York, and we're going to get back to your finger eating now, this is a full circle moment, Kay. So it was like my first or second year here. It must have been my second because was Mel there? I was with this friend of mine at the time called Casey, and I think Mel might have been there too.
When was this?
This is like 2006, maybe 2005, 2006. We're downtown near in Union Square, which is on 14th Street. And what happens in Union Square is all of these kids and teenagers and performance artists and people like that that are not necessarily old enough to go out drinking, be in bars or whatever, but are old enough to be in college and have hobbies and live
Oh,
alone,
okay.
would gather in places like Washington Square Park or Union Square, and they'll skateboard or they'll do break dancing or dance offs and stuff like that. Or maybe there'll be a giant chess game, or maybe there'll be some, right? There's always like things going on in those places. And it's where like young people would gather and they'll go get themselves a milkshake or a juice or something like that. People would sit on the steps, especially in summer, and just chill out. So I'm on the steps of Union Square with these three friends, and I do think one of them was Mel. And we see this clearly homeless person that was a very elaborately dressed. And my friend got their camera out. This girl, Casey, gets her camera out to take a picture of this guy. And this guy basically he was a black guy and he got this like crazy hair and stuff, but he was wearing this sort of weird wedding dress over his, like, he got a t-shirt on and he's wearing like a full wedding dress, but the wedding dress bottom is made out of ping pong balls and it's all ping pong balls and stuff. But he got jeans on underneath as well. And he's carrying this like sling bag and stuff. And it did look very whatever, but also she pulls her camera out and she takes a picture of him and he sees it. And he comes towards us and starts having a go at her for taking his picture. Yes, he's in a public place or whatever, but like, you're clearly taking a picture because you find whatever. And it did look like, wow. So he comes over and he starts berating her for taking a picture. And now you need to pay me for the picture because that's like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Starts chatting with us. And this is where it gets fun. So this dude starts talking to us about this restaurant that he wants to open. He's been thinking about this restaurant for a long time and he wants to tell us his restaurant idea. So he decides to sit down in our little circle at this point and start pitching us his restaurant. So he's telling us his weird life story, right? And he's like, the guy is homeless, he's delusional, he's clearly got some issues. So I love to ride the 4 train because my brother lives in the Bronx. And my brother has a spare room, but the room doesn't have any windows. And the room's just 4x4 with a light in it, which is okay, but I don't really like it. When I'm in there, I think about my restaurant idea. And then because I can read food, we're like, okay. And I go to these grocery stores, but I'll only take 1 carrot and 1 of this and 1 of that. And they get really angry at me, but I only need 1 because the food tells me which one to take and which one I need. And then I take it with me so that I can read the food. And we're like, okay, like all of us are working in mental health. We're like, all right, we can handle this. We know we'll just.
What do they say? Do you have a few toys up there?
I don't know, but we were like, okay, we've got this. We know how to counsel people. We know how to work with people in crisis and distress. We'll just ride this out and it'll be over. So he's telling us about how he reads food. And then can I show you? So I found the book of food on the subway, on the 4 train. So he's fixated on the 4 train. He's talking about these grocery stores where he just goes in and takes 1 vegetable because it speaks to him. And how he's become this master of reading food. So I want to show you my book of food. So we're like, okay, let's see your book of food. Right. So he goes into his satchel and he pulls out, like, in our subway trains, they have all these advertisements and they're fixed into the poster board. And what he'd basically done is taken the plastic out of these poster boards on the train. And he's got bits of lettuce and stuff sandwiched between 2 pieces of plastic and like different bits of remnants. Like between these 2 bits of plastic that he's then folded over, right, into making his book of food. So he opens his book of food and he's showing us the different things that he reads from the book of food. So then the book of food has told him that he needs to open a restaurant, but it needs to be different because most people eat up here. And his restaurant, people aren't going to eat up here. They're going to eat down here. And they're not going to eat with utensils. Do you want me to show you how they're going to eat in the restaurant? And we're like, I guess so. The next thing, his hand goes into his little satchel, comes out with a whole lump of fucking vegetables and lettuce and shit. Plonks it down on his book of food that's currently sitting on the like concrete floor at Union Square with these 4 bewildered healthcare workers. What the hell are we imagining this? Did we take acid? Are we the people that are not like on planet Earth? Right. So he throws this lettuce onto the food. He's kneeling down. He puts his hands behind his back. Bends down, they're going to eat like this, and he just starts eating the food that he's thrown onto this plastic thing that's sitting on the floor, showing us how people are going to eat down here at his restaurant and not up here. I am absolutely losing it, and I cannot laugh at this person because if I burst out laughing at him, that's going to trigger him into a whole different world. So I had to gather myself and move away a little bit and take some deep breaths because I'm like, okay, where can this go to next? Anyway, it did keep going for a little while longer. He's talking to us about how he got married and this, and then he's back and forth with his brother again. And then in the end, we were like, okay, we're gonna need to go now because, and he's, before we go, let's have a toast together. This jug of, so like you can get milk in gallon jugs, and a gallon
Yes.
jug, but it got no top on it. It had been cut off, and it was full of this brown kind of liquidy stuff. Things, as we finally made our way out of that situation, I was just like, please never take a photograph of somebody ever again without their consent, because that was a whole bunch of what the actual fuck. No, it was mental. Absolutely
And it's
mental.
good. I think the good thing is that he's not a hostile kind of person who would get
He
you.
definitely, no, he could have been very hostile because he wasn't happy when my friend first took the photographs. He was very hostile. And my friend, oh, I'm so sorry. I just really love your dress. So it was like, we basically then, because we were like, we just love your fashion and your dress and whatever.
Yeah.
And that then switched him into, oh, let me tell you about all these things. I laugh at the absolute absurdity of things that I see. I have experienced an unfortunate number of people flashing me, basically doing things to themselves in front of me. I don't know how or why I attract it, but yeah, I was walking down the street. I think I was on 34th Street, not too far from the Empire State Building, with my friend Suzanne one day. We were about to cross the road and some guy called us in his car. We thought he was going to ask for directions. And when we got to the car, that was not what he was going to do. He very clearly wanted us to see what he was doing. My reaction to that was to just burst out laughing. Like, I found it absolutely hilarious. And then Suzanne burst out laughing. That was not the reaction the guy in the car was looking to. We work in these scenarios where some of our clients don't necessarily understand, like, hey, don't stand in front of the window naked, like jumping up and down because you're excited because other people might see that as something, right? So for us, it's not shocking to see a naked body or somebody like doing something inappropriate, like in the wrong setting or whatever, because that's the world that we were working in. It's okay to do that, just not in this place. So for us, we took it very differently, and we were like, dude has problems, and that's hilarious that he thinks we're gonna be like shocked by that. Yeah, I see that stuff way too much and far too often, and especially in New York, you get, right, if you see something, say something, but also mind your business, because when you don't mind your business, you might be sitting there watching some homeless person eating food off a mat on the floor that he thinks he can read and trying to share his weird brown liquid with lumpy bits in it with you, right?
This is just a brown liquid. You don't even know what it is.
My God, I have so many homeless stories. Tons of homeless people that I have absolutely fascinated me when I've sat down and had conversations with them, shared a drink, had a sandwich, had a chat, whatever. I've been in weird, like, crisis situations myself where it's been a homeless person that has helped me. So I definitely, so when I say I've got a lot of stories about homeless people, they're all very, like, actual, fun, endearing, good stories.
It's not all crazy.
No, and it's not one of those like, oh, hey, here's a camera, follow me. I'm going to go give $500 to somebody that doesn't expect it like that. It's just like a normal human interaction. You meet somebody, start having a conversation, maybe grab a sandwich with them because they're hungry. I've definitely had some amazing interactions and some really soul-filling interactions with homeless people. But back to the eating the food, that was the whole, sorry, Kay, I took you on a massive tangent. But yeah,
I'm used to it.
that day when he was eating the food off of the floor, I wanted to die, absolutely die. I was in a homeless encampment in San Francisco once as well. And it was like this really intricate kind of home that they'd all built for themselves. And we were sitting there waiting for somebody and had been invited.
It's like a makeshift home.
Yeah, it was like we got invited in because we were sitting there waiting for somebody, and they were like, why don't you come with us? I guess like me and my friend Katie didn't look threatening. Um, so yeah, maybe was Becky with us at that time? No, I think it was just me and Katie that were there at that time. Yeah, they like got us little seats out and things, and were introducing us to all of their like friends that were also homeless and living in this encampment. And then they started passing round food, and again, I had no idea what they were eating, but I politely declined because I was like, no, it's fine, thank you, that's your food. Eat the hospitality you're giving us while we're waiting here. But yeah, if I can't see people washing their hands, if I can't see, if there's not somewhere to wash my hands,
Sanitizer doesn't count.
well,
Doesn't count. I should see bubbles. No.
it counts in a bind. It's
Okay,
better in a
but
bind, but yes, there is no substitution for hand washing, and hand washing properly as well. Wash up to your wrists.
okay, I have a question when it comes to hand washing. Do you dry your hands in the hand dryers in a public setting? I don't use the hand dryer. Do you use it?
I try not to. It depends on what kind of hand dryer it is, whether there's anything else in the bathroom, and how grubby the bathroom is.
There is a criteria
Yeah.
when
If it's a really clean bathroom and I can see that it's being well maintained and there are no hand towels, but there's a Dyson hand dryer where I can do this, like, absolutely. But if I'm in a grubby bathroom, like in a dive bar or something, and there's no paper towels, I'll wipe my hands on my clothes, the
me
dryer,
too.
because I don't want to blow those germs everywhere.
Me too. My mom would always say, "You wiped your hands on your shirt again."
Of course, of course.
I have. I, I'm rethinking all the things that I feel like I have. Like my friend Edge, we're really good friends. It's like a comparison between your friendship with Amel, and he knows when I don't want to do things. However, his face has subtitles. So like when I bring when I started bringing a chopstick with me and a spork, and I don't bring a spork, I actually bring a metal spoon and fork, and he called me a snob. You're a snob. You're like, use your hands. And I just can't. I tried. I promise I did. I tried. I just failed miserably. So
Yeah. You got to do you. And, if that's what works for you. I know everybody mocks our current president for eating things with knives and forks that should be eaten with hands and stuff. But if that's what his jam is and he doesn't like touching his food with his hands or whatever, then that's what his jam is, right? Maybe we need to be a bit more understanding of each other and our weird little food habits. Not everybody wants to touch food. Some people don't want to touch it for different reasons, but
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to pause this for a minute.
Okay,
That's all right. Or stop. I don't know
that's
if I
fine.
can pause.
Thanks for listening. If today's episode resonated with you, know that your sensory limits don't need justification. Comfort looks different for different people, and that's okay. As always, you are unlabeled and your potential is limitless.